Hi, I'm Parker Miley.
And I'm Tim Benjamin.
And this is the Rage Podcast, where today we're going to talk about a little news article me and Tim stumbled upon last week.
Yeah,
Tim?
I was out visiting a lady from our congregation, and her comment to me was, "Hey, I see your job's about to get a lot harder." And I was like, "Well, I would like to know what you mean by that." And she showed me this newspaper article telling me a bunch of stuff I did not know.
The title of the article is Plans for United Methodist Split Revealed. A great revelation.
Yeah.
I mean, Tim mentioned just a little bit ago before he came in to film this, he's an elder of the church,
Yeah.
He gets the emails, he gets all the stuff, but how did he find out? The local Salina newspaper.
Yeah, who apparently have the inside track here. There's been talk about, honestly, there's been a talk about a split in the church since clear back when I was getting ordained, which was back in 2004. And even prior to that when I was in seminary in the late 90s and early 2000s. Talk about it then, but it's really becoming an issue now where it's looking like this conversation may become real. So that's part of what this newspaper article is outlining. And Parker and I today just want to give you kind of just a little background and a little information about what does that mean if we're going to split.
So as Tim mentioned, this has been going on for quite some time. My whole lifespan of 17 years, I've
go ahead
heard
and throw
about...
that in my face. Go ahead. I appreciate that.
I've heard about the United Methodist Church dealing with these issues about a split.
Yeah.
And forewarning is obviously me and Tim do not know all the latest news because, again, we're getting it from a small-town Ohio newspaper.
Yeah. There's a website that was in there, and obviously Parker and I have read through that website, and we got what the website says, and we got a bunch of rumors and things, but as far as being the insiders, Parker and I are not. So
we just like to share what we know. So the split is what is going on? What is the split?
Well, there's some issues between the factions of the United Methodist Church, and obviously the main one is what to do with persons who are homosexual, and whether or not recognize them as members, and whether or not they can be ordained in the church, and that's one of the big questions, and one of the big, we'll say, sticking points between these two. There are obviously some other things, but I think that's the main one that people are up in arms about. And what do we do about that? And look, it's a question that's plagued the church for a long time, and issues will sometimes they'll become much more intense. Other times they'll kind of recede. But right now we're at a place in our nation and a place in the life of the world that these questions are big.
The pot is starting to boil over.
The pot is starting to boil over. I think that's well said. And so with this boiling over in the culture, now we're left to address it. What do we do with it? And one of the big sticking points comes from the Book of Discipline itself, where it says the practice of homosexuality is incompatible with Christian teaching, which has been a point of contention. Again, Parker talked about it for his whole life. That's been a point of contention for my whole life. So that's been going on for a while. And what does that mean to be incompatible with Christian teaching? Because if we're going to hold our clergy to the standard that they can never do anything not compatible with Christian teaching, then I've always said, which hypocrite do I resign to? Because I have things, obviously not that particular thing, but I've got issues in my life that are probably not compatible with Christian teaching. So, what does that mean? Does that preclude them from being ordained or not? Historically, the answer is yes, but that's one of the questions that have come out.
So now, I have always followed for a long time this story because it's been interesting. As a United Methodist Church member, I find it like this is the stuff I would like to know. So I stumbled upon, there's tons of different groups that are popping out of this. Now, because obviously with a split, you're going to have one body and another body, and that's kind of how it's ending up. So you have the traditional plan, which was proposed at the last General Conference, which was pretty much keep it the way it is. And then you have the other plan, I forget the name of it by chance. It's got a...
I can't remember.
I cannot think of the name of the other plan. There's another plan. There's actually 3 plans.
Yeah, actually, it was. Here's a nutshell. Completely change it, leave it alone, or go with what we've always done.
Yeah.
Just ignore it like we have been. The don't ask, don't tell approach, which I think is pretty obvious, never works. So what do we do? Those are the three camps.
So going off that, you have different people. The church has been divided, kind of, and the body's been divided. And now this article talks about the global Global Methodist Church.
Yeah, we had to throw that word united out. Yeah. You can't split and call yourself united. So, yeah. And what that comes down to is one of the strange things that I've always, in all my reading about this proposed split, which again has gone way back, longer than Parker's been alive, is the part that's going to split off is actually the side that wants to leave things like they are, which is not normally how splits happen.
And when it says leave things as they are, again, the book of discipline, which Tim talked about earlier, we just keep it the same way it has always been. So pretty much the odd factor there is the Global Methodist Church, the one that has to change the name, is the group that is staying the same as United Methodist teaching has been throughout all of history.
Yeah, so the side that's branching off is the side that will maintain the current stance.
We're being ran out, I guess.
Right. That's a way to look at it. And the reason they chose the word global, which Parker and I both have agreed is a terrible name until you have it explained to you.
Yes.
John Wesley, the founder of the Methodist Church, said that the world is his parish. So that from the fact that he said the world is my parish, that's where we get the word global from. And then he explained, I guess I could see that. However, that's still a terrible name.
Very important to look into certain things because again, you hear global church, and that's obviously
the word global just has bad connotations to it. So, but that's the name of the. And when you explain it, you're like, I guess I can see that. Still not sure that's the name I went with, but there you go. So that's how it's going to be if the split happens. Now, what they're doing currently, as I understand reading the website, and Parker read about this too, so he can jump in here, but is they're setting up a system so that if something if there's a decision made or a decision not made on this issue, then the Global United Methodist Church, or this new entity that's going to be formed, is going to be ready to go. It's currently not happening.
Yeah,
okay?
Yes.
We want to be very clear about that. As it stands today, the day we're filming this, which is March the 8th, it's not happening today. It is being set up to happen possibly in the future.
So it's not a church yet.
That is correct.
So this is the runaway. I mean, this is where churches would go when the decision is made.
Right. This is the backup plan.
And now again, I think it's important to note that it's not up to the entire church itself. It's going to be up to local bodies from every time I hear it.
If a split happens, it will be up to each congregation and each pastor to decide which direction they want to go. And exactly what that will mean, that wasn't spelled out because I don't know if anyone even knows the answer to that.
Well, no one knows how to answer that.
Right.
I mean,
so does that mean just use an example, Wayne Street. If Wayne Street decides to go one way and I decide to go the other, does that mean I can't be the pastor here anymore? I mean, does that what that? I don't know if that's what it means or not. I'm assuming in a split, because I can't go be a pastor of a Lutheran church.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming in a split, but that's an assumption. I don't know that.
So obviously. I want to make sure it's clear that we don't know everything, and I'm pretty sure the people who are doing this don't know everything.
Pretty much no one knows everything. So
no one knows what's been going on.
And anybody who claims to is the person who knows the least.
But I feel like if you're a member of a United Methodist Church and you're watching this, I think it's important to do your own research and figure out, because from what I'm hearing, the day will come where this will happen. It'll actually come to life.
Right.
We can talk about it, but there will eventually be a day where a decision might have to be made. So it's important for congregations to be informed, and it's important for members to be informed.
Which is the purpose of this episode of The Rage.
Yes.
We want you to be informed, and honestly, it gave Parker and I a chance to kind of indulge going to read about it and learn more about it, because this is the first I've heard of this, and honestly, it's the first option, I guess, of what a split would look like. Because again, everybody talked about, one way is going to be this and one way is going to be that. Well, now we kind of know, as these sides are lining up, who's going which direction. Mm-hmm. The Methodist Church is going to continue, in whatever decision they make. And then if that decision can't be abided by certain congregations or certain pastors, then the second option will be this one. So this is what the split would look like. I actually understand it a little better than I ever have before as to what the two sides are that are lining up. So that was helpful to me. We encourage all of you, just type in your search engine, Global United Methodist Church. Global Methodist
It's
Church.
Hard to say Methodist without United in the front.
Yeah, because United is something we've decided we don't want to do anymore, clearly, because we're splitting. But the Global United Methodist... I did it again. The Global Methodist Church... and go have a read of it. And all the website is right now is just information. I mean, that's all that's there.
I like the way the website was set up.
The website is very informative.
If you want to get information, it's not hard. They have a lot of
And I really appreciate the fact that it was not It was not condescending, and it wasn't like
they did not focus on the top. What Tim is pretty much saying is they did not focus on the top one topic of homosexuality,
right?
And that's
that doesn't even come up on the site that I saw.
Because what's good about that is that this church isn't being built on one foundation.
Exactly, which I would be against, regardless of what that was.
So, you're going to hear, though, it's probably not going to just be one. Well, there'll be probably multiple other church denominations and things that'll come out of this. It'll be a mess.
It'll be a mess.
But again, it's important to know that this is the one that we just are hearing about.
Correct.
This is the one that it looks legitimate. Okay.
Right. Yeah. We've heard of plenty of them out there, but if when Alex Jones is your bishop, you probably don't want to join that one because there's nothing but bad following that. So yeah. It's the first name drop of Alex Jones in our podcast, so yeah.
We don't want to go down that road.
Yeah. Trust me, if Alex Jones is involved, don't join it. It doesn't matter what it is. But anyways, sorry, I got on there.
Get informed.
Parker can't get by Alex Jones. He can't get past it. So.
It is coming up, and me and Tim are talking, and what I'm hearing is, I read it in the paper, is the General Conference. So they're planning, and again, you cannot trust any date that the United Methodist Church puts out.
Correct. Yeah, because there are no dates yet.
Yeah. So but
the General Conference where this is going to be decided, that date may be floating out there somewhere. But see, this originally was supposed to happen a year ago.
Yes.
And COVID decided that it wasn't going to happen then. So in response to the fear virus, it has been postponed indefinitely, I'm guessing. And then as they continue to figure out what this is going to look like and what direction it's going to go, I'm assuming a new date's going to be chosen. However, there's no way at this point it's going to be prior to our annual conference this year, which is scheduled for the first weekend in June. So it's clearly not going to happen prior to that. So I may be able to come back and have a Rage podcast later talking more about it, because I can't imagine we're not going to hear something about it.
And I assume this topic, as information we get, come to the Rage podcast, and I'm sure we'll have future
episodes on this.
This will be something that I want to keep you guys informed about.
And one of the things that we probably should have done before now is we want to help you understand exactly what all these organizations are, because even as an ordained person, I sometimes struggle to keep them straight. So in order to talk a little bit about exactly what is General Conference, we're going to go next level with Parker.
So as we've mentioned throughout the Rage podcast today, we've talked about the General Conference of the United Methodist Church. General Conference is the entire body of the United Methodist Church and its elders come together and decide what it is to become a United Methodist. And they do this every 4 years, and they come up with the Book of Discipline. This is obviously 2004, and this is 2008. And this book is all of the things that make United Methodist United Methodist. So that is what happens at General Conference. They get the elders and the leaders of the church, and they decide and they talk about and define what is a United Methodist.
Thanks for that, Parker. One of the things we hope that you'll take from this podcast is the fact that prayer is obviously very important. We want you guys to pray about this. Parker and I are praying about this because as a person who's already in, and as a person who's going to be in one day, we have a very vested interest in what happens in this. Not only for the direction of the church, but even our lives personally. It's going to be very much affected by this. So we want the right thing to happen, because at the end of the day, my concern is that the children of this generation get to grow up in a world with a strong church in it. I think to me, if that doesn't happen, I don't care what else happens, we failed.
Yeah.
So we want the gospel, we want the Christian message, we want the story of Jesus, we want faith in Christ. We want that spread. Whatever's going to help that to happen, everything else to me is secondary to that. So as I'm evaluating what I'm going to do as an individual in this, and then what I'm going to encourage Wayne Street to do as a congregation in this, is to decide what moves us closer to building the kingdom. What helps us accomplish that goal. Because at the end of the day, nothing else matters as far as I'm concerned.
And again, me and Tim know a little bit of information.
Yeah.
But it's important that you go, and I hope you guys care about this.
Yeah.
Because this is something that is
sure.
It's very important. How Tim mentioned the foundation, the future of the younger generation. It's important that they grow up in a church that is doing the mission of Christ.
Right.
So find some information. Again, we said the Global United Methodist Church.
You did too. You did too.
Global Methodist Church, or the United Methodist Church has some information. and go just do some research and see what side are you on, what are you looking at, and what do you feel is best for you. And
Yeah.
it's important to know that information is out there and that you should probably go look at
that. Now, go to the sites that we talked about. Go to the Global United Methodist Church site. Don't just type it into a search engine and take what you get, because that's when you end up with the Alex Jones stuff, and we don't want that. So go find some reputable news sources and read about those. If you're not affiliated here with Wayne Street, go talk to your pastor about this. Find out what's going on, because it's going to be very important for everyone to have some kind of understanding of what this is going to mean. Understanding that we can't understand it all because we don't know it all. But as this is happening, this is gonna be kind of a defining moment for the church as to what we're going to do about this and what the church will look like going forward. And as Parker and I are obviously big proponents of, we want this generation to grow up with a strong church backing, and what's going to bring us closer to that.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
with that said, go ahead.
Thrilling episode of The Rage. That's all I have to say. See you next week.
We'll see you next week, and be careful reading or hearing anything that has Alex Jones involved in it.